Hello NinBuzz, how are you guys doing today? My name is Shadow of Resho Gaming, and I'm coming here today to bring you another exciting community choice. Last time I asked you guys what your favorite Chibi-Robo game is. Now there is a couple of them, so let's just go ahead and jump right into the results. So coming in at number 5, we have the lone Japanese-only game out there. Chibi-Robo Happy Rich Sweeping is the English translation to it. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the actual name of it. I really wish this game would have come to America because it is a direct sequel to the original Chibi-Robo game, which is one of my personal favorites. So it's really cool to see the story actually progress, and the whole main plot of this game is that Jenny from the original game actually is all grown up and she has her own family now, and she actually bought a different Chibi-Robo, and now you're going around as that different Chibi-Robo trying to solve all these other family issues that Jenny is having. It's just really cool to see these characters again, and just to see how they grew up and how they turned out. I'm pretty sure there's translations of it out there, so if you want to check it out, go ahead and go for it. But until then, why not try playing number 4? Coming in at number 4 with 5% of the votes, we have Chibi-Robo Park Patrol. Park Patrol kind of seems like it was swept under the rug a little bit. You don't really hear a lot about Park Patrol. In this game, Chibi-Robo is pretty much the park manager of this place, and he's taking care of a park. He's making sure all the flowers are watered, and all the other basic stuff that you would do to manage a park. That's really the whole premise of the game. You're just going around taking care of a park as a little tiny robot. That poor Chibi-Robo is taking care of an entire park by himself. No help, just him. This game is technically the second game in the series, and it definitely does not feel like the original, which I think is why so many people just kind of dismissed it, is because it wasn't what they were expecting with a sequel to Chibi-Robo. Honestly, it wasn't the best game ever, so it's understandable why it got number 4. But let's just go ahead and move on to the number 3 spot. Coming in at 10% of the votes, we have one of the newer Chibi-Robos, Chibi-Robo Photo Finder. Photo Finder came out about a year ago, and the whole point of the game is that in the distant future, Chibi-Robo is trying to help this museum curator go back in time and get relics of the past back to his museum so he can become famous and whatnot. And how does one get these relics of the past? By taking pictures of them. Chibi-Robo is given these little silhouette cards, and he has to find an image that fits around that card. The premise of the game is really cool because you're just going around taking pictures of different things, but once you get to some of the later pictures, it's stuff that's not as common. Like, you start out with like cans and toilet paper, and then you get stuff like shopping bags that have to look like a certain shopping bag or you won't get the credit for it. And once you get to that level, it's pretty impossible unless you cheat to actually get those items. When I got to the harder stuff, one of the things I did was just kind of hand draw those silhouettes on paint and just take a picture of it, and it counted, so I'm sorry I cheated the system. But I wasn't gonna go find shopping bags that had to look like a certain shopping bag. I don't have those stores, Japan. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the number 2 spot. Coming in at a giant 38% of the votes, we have Chibi-Robo Lash. Lash is one of the most recent Chibi-Robo games, and instead of its normal adventure game or photo-taking picture simulator, we have an actual platformer, and that's kind of cool, but you don't usually see Chibi-Robo in a platformer. And I have to say, after playing this game, I am pleasantly surprised. It's not a bad platformer. It controls really well, it's not too difficult, but it also throws in some nice challenges. There really isn't a deep story with this game like the first one. Basically, aliens have come to steal everything. So your goal as Chibi-Robo is to defeat the aliens, because Chibi-Robo apparently is the only one that can do it. And that's it, you're just thrown into the game. You're just killing aliens and finding snack foods. So obviously the story isn't the main focus of the game, it's the actual gameplay itself, which isn't too bad. Using your Lash to get to different secret areas is really cool, and really rewarding when you actually find those secret areas. There is a lot of replay value in the game if you're trying to collect everything. The only thing that kind of holds back the game is when you're going through a world for the first time, you have to use the destination wheel. And what the destination wheel is, it is a roulette wheel that has different numbers on it, and determining which number you get is totally random, and whichever number you do get is how many spaces on the map that you go to. So if you start out on level 1 and you get a 3, you go all the way to level 4. You skip 2 and 3. But to get to the boss of that world and to complete that world, you have to go to all the levels, so you're basically going in a circle until you get all of the levels completed. But once you beat the boss of that world, you don't have to use the destination wheel on that world ever again, so you can just go back and play it through however much times you want, which is really nice. Overall, I was really happy with this game. It was not a bad game, and you get an amiibo with it, so how could you go wrong with that? Although Ziplash was a really good game, it does not come close to the #1 spot, which is the original Chibi-Robo's plug-into adventures for the GameCube. This game was just amazing. It was breathtaking. The story was just so good. The original Chibi-Robo covers a lot of topics that you would not expect Nintendo to cover. Things ranging from neglect all the way up to divorce. This is a really, really heavy game, but it ties nicely into the cartoonish atmosphere, making it seem not as terrible as it is. So your goal as Chibi-Robo is to put back together the shambles of this family, all the while trying to discover the secret dark side that looms around the house. The house is moderately big for a small robot, so you have a lot of room to explore, and there's so many different characters that you can meet, and so many different adventures that you can have. You will not regret playing this game. There's so many tears, there's so many happy moments, it's just heartwarming. Alright, before I start crying, let's just go ahead and move on to next week's question. Alright, this week I'm going to be asking you guys a question which I honestly thought would have been asked by now, but I guess not. Past Sam, I don't know what you've been doing, but you need to step up your game, sir. This week I'm asking you guys, what is your favorite Nintendo villain? Any villain from any Nintendo game, leave it in the comments. I don't care what the villain is, if it was a spin-off game or a main series game, just any villain from Nintendo from any time era. So you could include Donkey Kong if you want, because he was a villain at some point. As long as they were a villain at some point in time, you can vote for them. A few examples being Bowser, Ganondorf, Ridley, Pokey, Metal Face, that big face thing from Face Raiders, you know, that one game that you played for like 5 minutes and never played again? So go ahead and leave that down in the comments below. And while you're writing that juicy comment, make sure to subscribe to NinBuzz if you have not already and give this video a like. It really helps me out, and that means I get to come out of the dungeon for 5 more minutes a day. Also, you could subscribe to my personal channel. It's a good time. Trust me, I know. Alright guys, but until then, make sure you stay beautiful, and I will see you guys in the next episode.